my channel. This is your girl Emily with Rad Cute Plans, and I am here to let you guys know what did I read in January. I know. So the last time we talked about my January TBR, I believe I had 11 books that I had mapped out that I wanted to read in my Always Fully Booked planner. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the books that I read and what some of my favorites were, and also letting you guys know what my January book of the month was. This is the book that was my absolute favorite. I loved everything about it, and that's it, that's all, right? So on my list, I did end up completing 5 of the books that I had selected. I am reading number 6 right now, but I'm not gonna finish it because today is the last day of the month. It is January 31st, but I did start The Coincidence of Coconut Cake by Amy E. Reichert, and I do really like it. I'm super excited too because I got to fill in my Wisconsin box for my United States challenge that I'm doing. So that was pretty excited, but I will not finish this tonight. I have like 100 pages. Plus I have a couple other things to do tonight, so I'll probably finish about half of it. Plus I really want to start my February TBR, so this might be I'll finish it later book. Anyway, so I have that. But I did want to talk about the books that I did read. So here's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my Fully Book Planner because I did do reviews on all of my books. And I'm just gonna tell you guys the book that I read, the star rating, the format, and just a brief how did I think about the book, because I do not want this to be super long, but something tells me it's going to be super long. So anyway, so here are the 11 books that I read. Here we go. So the first book I read was What the Heck's by Alexis Daria. It was an audiobook that I did just kind of find randomly on Audible Originals. I thought it was super cute, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. What I liked about this book was that it was about a Latino family, and they had all of these different like witchy powers, and I thought that was really cool. The love story was really awesome in it because it was kind of one of those, they had been digging each other since they were like in high school. They were kind of like enemies to lovers type deal, so I thought that was really cute. But yeah, I ended up giving it 5 stars. I mean, I just absolutely loved it. And I mean, I think too, like I was kind of on a high with Alexis Daria because I had just finished You Had Me at Hola, so there you go. The next one I read was Son of a Beach by Mia Sosa. I gave that one 4 stars. I thought it was super cute. Basically, a woman that's trying to prove herself in the fashion industry, and she gets paired with someone that she kind of just thinks is a slacker. It was another enemies to lovers book, so I thought that was really cute, and that was another audio. The next one that I read was The Perfect Play by G.S. Carr, and that one had a lot of depth that I really wasn't ready for, but I thought it was great, so I gave that one 4 stars as well. I think, and it was one of those, drunken stories, they get married and whatever else about a football player and a football player's sister. So, but it had a few different layers to it that I felt like were really beautifully wrapped up in 2 hours. So really definitely highly recommend that one. So the next one that I read was Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. I thought this was great. This book though, I had started it actually back in November and I just finished it early this month. And it was because I read like 10 other books in between, but whatever. But regardless, I thought that this was a fantastic book. This was about April and Marcus. Basically, they end up going on a date based because Marcus was on this show, and it gave me like some pretty solid like Game of Thrones vibes, but he ended up really liking April because she was very outgoing, very outspoken, and very confident. And what I loved about this book too is that April did have to end up setting some really serious boundaries with her family, and Marcus was afraid, but he was going kind of through some of his own things, and this was just a really well-written story featuring a plus-size character, and I just absolutely loved it. I do have all the feels on my February TBR. I do hope to get to that one next month. So, but spoiler alert, great book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. So the next one that I read was Take by Ella Frank. That was number 2 in the Temptation series. loved. It was kind of a read along though, because I started off just doing the ebook, but then I noticed that on Audible, because I have a subscription, I actually get the Audible version for free. So, through like Kindle. So I ended up listening to half of it, and oh my God, like listening to it was amazing. But it was basically the continuation of the love story between Logan and Tate. In this one, they're entering that relationship realm and what that actually looks like in this book. And also, you know, just kind of wading through some things, especially around Logan's past and his abandonment issues, and then also with Tate coming to the realization that his family is not going to accept him and his lifestyle. So that's one thing that definitely comes across in this book. I gave this book 4 stars. I absolutely loved it. Cannot wait to finish the series. It's not on my TBR to go to the next one in February, but I'll probably circle back to this one in March. The next physical book that I read, Girl Gone Viral. This book has been on my TBR for 2 years. I read The Right Swipe at the beginning of 2021 and just never went back to this, but I really love this book. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. This was another one that just had a lot of layers that I was not ready for. So in this one, it is the story of Jas and Kat. Jas is Kat's bodyguard, basically, and has been with her for like 10 years. And they are both digging each other, but it wasn't until Kat, who is a very private person, and she's almost a recluse because of some things that happened to her in her past. And also a really troubling relationship that she has with her father. She ends up going viral, and it was just like this whole huge misunderstanding. So they actually end up going to Jas's farmhouse in Northern California, and this was a slow burn, you guys. This was such a slow burn, but I absolutely loved it. It was a really good continuation of the Modern Love series. Another thing, there's a dog in this book. I'm a dog person, so of course I'm gonna love it. But this was a great book. Again, 4 stars, highly recommend. The next one that I read is by my girl Tara Sue Me, and I will talk about her a little bit later. But this is another book that I've had probably for like 2 years now. It is a part of the Lessons from the Rack series, but there are only 2 books in this series, but it's called Master Professor. This book I actually gave 3 stars. I thought it was really good. It's basically about this girl. Her name is Andy. She's 23. She's a 23-year-old virgin. So that right there, I'm gonna denote a star. But basically, she goes to this school to basically learn how to embrace her submissive ways to please her boyfriend, whom happens to be her childhood crush and is a dominant, basically. So she goes to the school where she meets the teacher. His name, Fulton. Sometimes I can't remember names. I don't know. But basically, his name was Fulton, and he has immediate attraction to her, and he's also, you know, the main professor. This was also kind of a slow burn as well. He tests her limits. There were a couple of really steamy scenes. The steam definitely... Tara Sue Me knows how to write steam. That's all I have to say. But absolutely, I did really enjoy this book. Like I said, I gave it 3 stars. I do have the second one, Headmaster, on my TBR for February, so I will be reading it. But good book, and it was a quick read. I read this in a couple of days, so really enjoyed it. The next book that I read was the one that I did my, what's the word I want to use? A readathon for in January. Because like I said, I'm going to try and do a readathon every month, right? This book, I'm going to tell you guys, it broke me. It wrecked me. And it's called Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. Not only was this my introduction into Kennedy Ryan, but this is also the first in the series, in the Hoops series. And this was about August and Iris. August and Iris met randomly one night before the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. And August finds out that Iris is dating his arch nemesis. I believe his name was Caleb. And it basically goes through the years how they have only ran into each other a couple of times, and not only about where their lives ended up taking them, but also about how that connection between them never broke. This book was fantastic. It had a lot of layers, a lot of trigger warnings, and I did talk about in my readathon that I did about how I really wished I would have known about these trigger warnings. Not saying that I wouldn't have read the book, but I just feel like I would have been more prepared. But that book was incredible. I absolutely adored it. Easy 5 stars. I don't have the next 2 books on my TBR for February just because they're going to be heavy. I did read the trigger warnings on those, so I'm going to save those for March and April. But fantastic book. Absolutely loved it. Could not say more about how much I loved that book. So that was that one. The next one I read was another one that's been on my TBR for like over a year. It's Tempted by Megan Hart. Yeah, the steam was definitely in this one, but it was really subdued. So this cover was a little bit misleading. But this one was basically about a love triangle between Annie, her husband James, and James's best friend Alex. This is actually the first in the series. I actually ended up reading the 3rd in the series, and I do have the 2nd on my TBR for February. But this book really went into, that whole concept of, can you bring a third party into an established relationship? Is that relationship strong enough, right, to sustain that? And in this book also, again, I read really good books with a lot of layers this month. This one had a family element to it as well, because Annie was, the perfect daughter. She was the oldest of 4 girls. Her father was an alcoholic, and she really put a lot of weight on her shoulders and didn't like that, even, didn't like the idea of her relationship not being viewed to others as perfect. So, but this was a really good book. I'm really excited too to read the 2nd one to see what happens to Alex, because that's basically the continuation of his story. But I really love this, and I actually ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. So another good one. The next one that I read is another by a new author. I do believe this was her debut novel, and this was like the first novel of hers that I read as well. I had the opportunity to meet this lady, and she is just incredible, and fangirl a little bit, but just because I have met her, and I'm so excited for the work that she has coming up. So, and that is How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams. Y'all, first of all, 5-star read, period. But what I loved about this book was this book is actually set in academia. This is about a woman. Her name is Naya. And Naya is, she's a PhD professor at a university in Chicago. And she, is doing a lot of really good work, but it's starting to come down the pipeline that because of a new president, there's potential for her program to be cut. Which, if you work in higher ed like I do, you actually see that quite a bit where, you will have people come in, and if a program is not profitable, and if they can't find a way to make it profitable, they will actually cut those programs. That actually happened at my alma mater before I got there as an employee. But basically she ends up chance meeting, this guy, his name is Jake, and he actually, it turns out he's one of the consultants that's doing the review of her university. They, are navigating a long distance relationship and also some demons that she has in her past with a previous boyfriend. His name is Davis, and he does come back. And then also navigating through some things in Jake's past with his previous wife. So really great book, interracial romance. This book just really had a lot of elements of really what it's like to kind of like be in your 30s and be dating. I mean, granted, I don't know about that life because I've been with my husband since I was 19. But again, this was just a really good book. And I think that my favorite thing about this book, and Denise, I am so thankful that you made your female character a woman of color from Iowa. You have no idea. That just did everything for me. So Naya is actually Afro-Latina, and I'm dying because I have literally in my 35 years have never read a romance novel where the main female character is a woman of color. So, and she's from Iowa, I should say that. So love this book. Cannot wait to read the next book in Denise's catalog. She's got some more books coming up. A few novellas are going to drop here pretty soon, and then also a new book in August. So, but this, How to Fail at Flirting, read it. Great book. And we have finally made it to the last book that I have read. So this one was actually a buddy read with my girl Lisa from Y'all This Book. Please make sure you check out her podcast. Again, it's a reread. I read this book in 2019 and fell in love. I love the entire series, and the guy in the book, Nathaniel, is literally top tier, #1 book boyfriend. Nobody will ever beat him. Okay, Nathaniel is my man, and that is The Submissive by Tara Sumi. I told you guys I was going to bring her up again. So this book is about Abby and Nathaniel. Abby is a new submissive and is basically under the care of Nathaniel, and they have a relationship, but some things end up coming out later on, and when I tell y'all this book is steamy, it is steamy. I did rank this one though a 4.5 stars, only because there's one piece of the book that I am just not with. So basically, and I didn't know this, but this series, and I'm gonna talk to y'all for a second. This series is actually based on fan fiction from Twilight. And so in this book, Nathaniel and Abby are actually Bella and Edward. Now, y'all know I love Twilight, right? But I did not get into the fan fiction. Lisa did, however. And there are two characters in this book that I just don't think we need, and that would be Felicia and Jackson. That is, Felicia is Abby's best friend, and Jackson is Nathaniel's cousin. I don't need their relationship. It's not even like a big part of the book, but I just don't like Felicia's character at all. And they're just very happily ever after, meet cute, love at first sight, and I can't do it. So I don't like that, but I understand why they are in the book, because it's kind of like the yin and the yang, the simple to the complicated in the relationship in the book. So I get it, but this is my this was another this is a 4.5 star read for me. I am going to reread The Dominant next month, and I am very excited. So yeah, so The Submissive was another one that I did read last month. So that is all. So I did end up finishing 3 audiobooks. One, can you hear my dog? So I did end up finishing 3 audiobooks, 1 ebook, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 physical books. So really excited for that. But that's all that I have for you guys today. Again, I really enjoyed reading all of these this month. I am very shocked at myself for being able to finish 11 the first month of the year. But I'm gonna keep it real and still hope that I at least read 5 every month. That's like the goal, right? But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Tell me in the comments, what did you guys read this month? How many books did you read? Did you get through 1? If you did, way to go. Did you get through 2? Awesome. Did you get through 11 like I did? I need to know these titles. So definitely let me know. And also, if you do like getting bookish content, planner content, craft content from me, please make sure that you do not only subscribe to my channel, but also hit the notification bell so that way you're notified whenever I do post a new video. And also, if you could, please like this video. I absolutely love putting up content on my little corner of YouTube, especially book content. So that's all that I have for you guys today. I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.